told you booing is a sign of brotherly love, that cheesesteaks are actual food, that Sundays is a matter of life and death, that no one can outrun Deshaun Jackson? What if I told you they're only true football fans that only heal all wounds with a Rocky sign? What if I told you this is Eagles versus everybody?
All right. It's Eagles versus everybody. We in the house. So got to start out. Shout out to my man Rory. Appreciate you blessing us with that intro. Anyway, so it's Kane, it's Ice. You know what we do. You know how we do it. And we just want to remind everybody, first, we want to thank you for listening. Second, hit us up on Twitter and Facebook, all right? It's super important. Hit us up Twitter, Facebook. We have a lot of exciting stuff happening, and a lot of it's going to come out on Twitter and Facebook. And right now, BS3 Sports is having a major contest, so we need our listeners to be actively engaged in this contest because you can win gift cards. All right, so look for us on Twitter, Kane_Ice, Facebook. Was it Kane and Ice Show on Facebook?
Yep, that's it.
All right. So, and get the details about this and win you a gift card. All right. You know, we want our listeners to win. So I need you guys to follow the instructions and win you some money or win you a gift card and go enjoy yourself. All right.
Money's always good.
Yeah, man. You know, make the world go round. So anyway, how things going in the beautiful state of Florida?
Well, it's already hot as hell, but no complaints, man. I mean, it's better than freezing our ass off there. You know, the rest of the country, we could be up in the Northeast where they catching hell, but
yeah. Good point. Well, all right. So of course, you know, the Eagles, you know, fell to the Seahawks, so we're not going to the Super Bowl.
We lost?
Yeah, we lost.
How'd that happen? Man.
Yeah, well, you know, if you listen to last week's episode, you'll get a detailed breakdown of how that happened. So, so if you're listening now and you didn't listen last week, go back and listen to last week's episode, okay? But anyway, so what I need everybody to do is that today we're going to give out grades. So, basically, Kane and I are professors, and we're going to grade the Eagles by position group.
Are you going to grade on the curve?
No. I'm, you know.
Will there be extra credit?
I'm trying to take out the what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to take out any bias I may have based on losing bets. Not that I bet any money, okay, or that I'm condoning betting. So you know, but saying in case it happened, you know, I'm trying not to factor in any emotions that may be tied to that. So anyway, you know, let's start with the most obvious position and the most scrutinized position, you know, in football and probably sports, the quarterback.
Oh, I thought it was going to be the kicker.
No. So, you know, actually, in this season, you only have really one to judge because he actually made it through all 16 games. So, shut up, haters.
Oh, yeah.
What, this is a regular season grade, okay?
Okay. Yeah. It's a regular season?
Yeah,
we're not talking about the playoffs.
No, because that was number one, very small sample size, right? Especially for the quarterback. And
thanks, Clowney.
Yeah, well, and as if I didn't hate Rock Hill enough. But anyway, all right, so let's get to it. Carson Wentz, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 2 fourth-quarter comebacks, 4 game-winning drives. You know, last month of the season, pretty lights out, and he was playing with Greg Ward is his number one receiver, who started the season on the practice squad. So anyway, what grade would you give Mr. Carson Wentz?
I'm kind of.
Now we're talking the whole season, not a section.
I mean, his stats are kind of middle of the road for a winning franchise quarterback or somebody who's supposed to be an upper echelon franchise quarterback in the league. His numbers are kind of pedestrian. But, you know, at the same time, you got to give this man credit. You know, we brought in Deshaun and thought that was going to be a a big boost to the pass offense. We got a game and a half out of him.
That's a great point. And he did connect with Deshaun on a couple long touchdowns in that one game.
Compared to Super Bowl year, Alshon is just wasn't the same. I don't know if that was a chemistry thing or some whispering going on like that, or he was just banged up the whole year.
Well, I think Alshon's lost a couple steps.
So he didn't get much help, and by the end of the year, like you said, he's playing with pretty much a practice squad and dragging them boys to the playoffs. So for me, I think he took a big jump in leadership and leading this team this year. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the wins and the results and the stats that we wanted, but I think he earned a lot of respect throughout the locker room, the team, and the organization. The fans already, are just in love with Wentz and what he's done. I'm gonna grade him tough though, because there are some opportunities he missed, but at the same time he didn't get the help, and some help let him down as well. I'm gonna give him a B plus. I think there were some areas he could have stepped up in. He missed some easy throws some of the time, but like you said, when he did deliver, he wasn't getting the maximum amount of help. But I'll give him a strong B plus for this year.
All right, and I'm right there with you, especially when I factor in the whole season, because I think, that last quarter of the season, I'd have to say an A, but, there are definitely some moments and issues there, and just some times we're starting really slow. We saw what he can do. Yeah, we saw what he can do.
Man, Ice.
Hey, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. Somehow I must have muted myself. Sorry about that, everybody. So anyway, I'm right there with you. I'm gonna have to go B plus.
You can't copy my grades, man. Come up with something original, okay?
Hey, okay. B plus plus?
No.
All right, B.
All right.
I'd say definitely that last month of the season, it was an A. But like I said, it's only 1 month. That last quarter of the season, there are 3 other quarters, and sometimes the performance was sort of mixed, right? He had, of course, a bunch of turnovers in that first Seahawks game. Some slow starts to games.
A lot of slow starts.
In the season.
Yeah, the game in Dallas, that was a very bad game. I mean, he didn't play well. The fumble still kind of haunted him too when in the pocket.
Right. So, but overall, can't deny that he pretty much dragged an offensive team of tight ends and practice squatters to the playoffs that last month.
Yeah.
So I give him B. So anyway, let's move on to the next group here, and that would be the running back. All right, so running backs, and which obviously we've thought Jordan Howard would kind of be the bell cow, and thought coming into the season that Sanders would be sort of change of pace dude, all-purpose guy, but Howard with the world's longest stinger injury. Let me stop. So of course, Miles Sanders, and coming into the season, Miles Sanders had a lot of hype in camp and stuff, but he still exceeded my expectations with 1,300 all-purpose yards, 1,300 total yards from scrimmage, 6 touchdowns, 50 catches. Like 8th in the league in all-purpose yards. Boston Scott, had some highlight games there toward the end of the season. Jordan Howard had some moments, but obviously injuries and things. So, what grade would you give the running backs for 2019?
Like I said, I was expecting a lot out of Jordan Howard, and pretty much he was being productive, and I think mid-season we kind of got away from the running game, and that's more on the coaches,
right?
And scheme, and then we got behind in some games, and that threw some things off balance as well. But I went into the season expecting a lot out of Jordan Howard, and when given the ball, I think he was doing a very good job. The pleasant surprise was, of course, Miles Sanders. I didn't expect him to get as many carries as he did, but because of the injury situation, he became the number one back. And man, I'd say about that week 8 or something, about halfway through the season, I'd say the kid came on, man. Early in the season, I was like, I don't know, did we miss on this guy? Is he gonna take a little bit of time to develop? Or yeah, he did this year. He stepped into it.
Oh, no doubt.
Darren Sproles going down again, which I kind of knew that would happen. I didn't think he'd make it through the season. And then, I think it was I know why we did it, bringing Ajayi in, but I think it was a bad move. We should have just gave the ball to Boston Scott and Boston Scott and Sanders and just rode with that. But I understand you got to have a third back, and he needs to be a veteran with, two, rookie and a practice squad guy. You don't want them two to be your lead back and no veteran in the locker room or in the rotation with them. But overall, I think the running backs did a pretty good job considering, that at times we went away from it and that we're dealing with pretty much a guy who was, borderline practice squad and then a rookie running back carrying the load the second half of the season. I think the running backs played very, very well this year, man. I don't have a lot of complaints. I mean, there was no games where, they set the world on fire, but I can't say there was a game where the running game cost us a game either.
Right.
So I'm gonna give them an A-.
Okay.
If we would have had Howard and he would have got his carries, we might not have got to see. Well, we definitely wouldn't have seen Boston Scott, and we might not get to see what Sanders had to offer. So it could have been higher, it could have been lower, but the injuries just played around on this, and I think we could have been a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Corey Clement, right, who starred the Super Bowl year, I don't think he played at all this year, right? So, so you're right. Injuries played a role in sort of helping Miles Sanders step into being what a lot of people thought they saw in camp, and of course with him being a second round pick. So I'm gonna go A. Yeah, I thought they did a great job. Like you said earlier, there are definitely some times they should have gotten more carries, but that's not on them. It's not like they're calling plays or changing plays. So, so let's go to the guys that block for the offensive for the quarterbacks and running backs. The offensive line, which speaking of injuries, had some issues, but overall, I'm gonna give them a B. I think. Giving some of the jumbling things they had to do, they still managed to stick together. And obviously there's always going to be games or moments where it seems like the other team has a rash of getting pressure and sacks. But for the most part, even the games where we struggled offensively, it wasn't so much pressure or the line not blocking. It seemed like just the passing game was out of sync and things like that, or stupid penalties would, back us up. So I'm going to give the offensive line a B for the season. What about you, man?
I'm a little harder on them this year. I think it's time for Jason Peters to call it a career. I mean, he jumped off. He pretty much jumped off sides. So false started, twice a game for at least just about every game this season. Brandon Brooks was playing at a Pro Bowl level. I thought he got snubbed. Lane Johnson was also playing at a Pro Bowl level before he got hurt towards the end of the year. J.C. Kelsey was all pro. So that was a great as well. Sayah Malu played pretty well. And even when Big V and Pryor had to come into the game, they played pretty well. But to me, the injuries brought the play of this line probably down a lot. I wanted to see more of Andre Dillard. You invest a first-round pick on a guy, and I want to see what he can do. And he barely touched the field. So I don't know if there's a development thing going on there, or they just wasn't confident sticking a rookie in the lineup with him. But I wanted to see more of him. So injuries just took a toll on this. If the starting five would have held this year up, and some things went right with the passing offense and Wentz and some other tools and coaching, this could have been a lot more successful year. But the offensive line had their issues too. It seems like more than often big plays were called back for a holding, and it was usually Peters.
Mm.
I think they could have played better at some times, but I don't think they played awful. I'm gonna give them a C plus. I'm on
Okay.
the borderline with a C plus and a B minus. But the penalties this year, I mean, and it was always at a crucial time. I swear there were crucial moments where it was a holding, a false start, or something blocking downfield, or something that cost us a
Right.
couple of games this year that the offensive line should have been a little better prepared for.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the tight ends, which pretty much Ernst and Goddard for most of the season, of course. I'm gonna give them a B.
Uh-huh.
And I want to say a B plus or A, but there was a stretch where Zach Ernst sort of struggled some.
Yeah, he had some drops this year too, some crucial drops.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it was like just a stretch. It didn't kind of stretch over the whole season, but there's definitely a stretch of the season where he struggled some. So I'm gonna go with a B. But they finished strong, and obviously, I guess, sort of had to finish strong because the wide receivers were kind of decimated by the end of the season. But
that's all we had, man. I think Ertz played, fairly well. I mean, he's still a Pro Bowl level tight end. I was expecting more from Goddard this year, but when he did get in, he made some plays. So that's going to be more on the coaching staff to get him more involved in the game. Like I said, they both had some drops. Notably, Goddard dropped that touchdown in the end zone. I can't remember which game that was now, but dropped a point blank touchdown in the end zone. So I'm in the same neighborhood. I would say a B minus for the tight ends this year. Were they spectacular? No. Were they the focal point? Yes, they had to be the focal point. So if you're going to look at them every game, and we needed them so bad every game, of course you're going to find, every mistake they made and try to analyze it a little bit more.
Gotcha. All right, so let's go to the wide receivers, and I'm going to go ahead and say F. I'm sorry.
Like F you or FFF?
like F them, like as a staff, record label, and
it's a crew.
Right. Sorry. I had some flashbacks. Sorry.
Yeah, like I'm gonna touch briefly on this, and we're gonna move on because both of us are pretty much in agreement with this. Alshon just didn't do anything for me this year. I don't know if that was the riff that Josina Anderson, who blocked me on Twitter, by the way.
Really? Yeah. You made it, baby! Congratulations.
But look, I don't know if it was Alshon and his discontent for Wentz, or he was injured this year. Deshaun Jackson, who I partly blame, that got injured and didn't have the surgery and tried to wait it out. Nelson Aguilar regressed. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who is he? We spent a second round pick on this guy, and we don't even know what he can do. Shout out to the practice squad guys, Greg Ward and Dante Burnett, these guys who actually stepped up when we actually needed them. Robert Davis, and actually made a few plays down the run. But it's not on these guys to do this. We pay Alshon, Aguilar, who was the highest paid receiver on the damn team, to catch footballs, and they didn't help us out this year. Didn't execute when they needed to. So I have nothing to say.
And what really magnifies it for me is the drop touchdown passes that cost us games, like the Falcons, the Lions.
That's Whiteside and Aguilar right there.
Right. You win those games, that totally shifts where you are at the end of the season, right? Now, of course, we end up making the playoffs and winning the division, but, I mean, let's be honest. We only won the division because Dallas struggled so mightily, for stretches of the season.
Yeah, I can't figure that out, but it's not for me to figure out. I could care less. But, yeah, the wide receivers going into this season, looking at the weapons this team had, just speaking as the offense as a whole, I was expecting us to be a top 5 offense this year. I really, really was. With Jordan Howard, power running game, and then we got, the rookie and Sproles to slash. We got possession wide receiver and Alshon. We got a deep threat in D-Jack. We got Nelson to work the underneath with Ertz and Goddard, and the offensive line. Peters is a veteran. Kelsey's all pro. Brooks is all pro. Johnson's all pro. I was really expecting a lot from the Eagles on offense this year, and injuries, play calling, and some bad play just sunk all of that.
Yeah. So all that to say, F.
Yeah, F you, Aguilar. F you.
All right. So let's switch to the other side of the football. And let's say defensive line, man. I'm gonna go with a B minus. Because I felt like run defense, B, pass rush, C. So I'm gonna kind of meet it in the middle and go B minus for the D line.
Yeah, I was, kind of in the same boat. I think we got robbed early. No Malik Jackson. First game of the season, he goes out. Jernigan was already out. He didn't come back to like week 4 or 5 like that. So, and then you had an injured Fletcher Cox. So to be the run defense we were early in the season and throughout the whole season, pretty good. Like you said, run defense, we were stout. Pass rush, I saw nothing this year. Graham was okay. Everybody was just okay. Graham was okay. Josh Sweat flashed, but he wasn't consistent.
Right.
Barnett, this is a first round pick. This is somebody we picked in the top 15, 17 picks.
Yeah, and this is his third year?
Yeah, and this is what we get. So it'd be interesting to see if he even gets re-signed. But later in the season, I think we got a little continuity as the pieces were forced together and they had to perform together. Fletcher Cox finally got healed up and back to normal, midway through the season, and he was wreaking havoc towards the end of the season. But overall, the offensive line, like you said, the defensive line, I'm kind of, B plus on on run support, but that pass rush, man, they C minus at least. So let's just average it out and give them a C for me.
All right. So fair enough. I think that's fair. Obviously we didn't die, and like you said, didn't have the dude you plan to have, so that impacts things, right? Particularly when you're talking about the tackles, because they, their job most times is make it easier on the ends, and to me, the ends just didn't do enough. From what I saw, most of the season had some moments, but everybody is going to get sacked sooner or later. So let's go to linebacker. Yeah. So
if you're not an Eagles fan, you can't name our linebackers. That's how bad.
That's a great point.
That's how bad our linebacking situation is, and it's been neglected for years. Who was the last linebacker we drafted probably in a top 3 round? I don't even remember the last linebacker we drafted who was a top 3 round pick. Nigel Branham, inconsistent, horrible in pass coverage. Gruger Hill was supposed to be his year. He ended up on the IR. We're playing with matchsticks here. The linebackers were awful. They're okay in run support. God awful in pass support. God awful. For me, we're talking wow. D plus. I'm gonna give them a plus just because I don't want to sink them that low. I want to get them close to a C. But for me, this is one of the worst units on the team as well. Outside of wide receiver performance this year, easily D plus for me, man.
Yeah, I'm going with D. I'm gonna go with D. Like a lot of times it's almost like, are they out there? Plays and
Gruger Hill's more known for his special team coverage than he is being a linebacker, and this man starts.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Man, that's crazy.
Scary, right. Yeah,
that's something that seriously got to get addressed in the offseason. We're going to need at least two starting linebackers. I don't know if that's coming draft or free agency or whatever, but we got to change. They got to change out that whole unit.
Yeah. Something's got to happen there, and it needs that. It needs to be like an overhaul kind of situation, right? Where we're gonna see some serious difference in
Yeah.
who's lining up back there.
Yeah. Bradham's only here because of his contract next year. I'm telling you that right now, because if he was last year or Eagles could do something with him, they would. It's that bad at the linebacker position. We got to get a total overhaul there. People are, we'll get into the later about draft and everything, but that's a position we got to spend a pick or two at right there.
Gotcha. All right. So, I'm going D. Let's go to. I'm going to split up the defensive backs.
Okay.
So cornerback.
Oh, Lord.
So corner. I'm just going to ask you: are you going to go F- or F+, or where?
I'm going to give him a little bit of credit.
Okay.
For the last few games of the season. Okay. Avonte Maddox and our shutdown corner here. Mr. Sidney Jones actually weren't terrible the last couple of games.
Right. Sidney was good at being
situational defense.
Because he would only get out there in situations where people are hurt.
Yeah. Exactly. But Avonte Maddox last few games, I think he played pretty well.
True.
Rasul Douglas just gets cooked on every time you see Rasul Douglas, every team knows hit him deep because he cannot run. I swear I can outrun Rasul Douglas. Darby, I have no comment. Jalen Mills, man, he comes back from injury, and we think, man, this man's came back, but he's just an energy guy. To me, he's an energy guy. He energizes the defense with his enthusiasm and his antics and all of this, but he's not really a player. And like I said, he should have been moved to safety, my opinion, a couple of years ago. But for the cornerbacks, just because Maddox and Mills had a few good games, I'm not going to flunk them. I'll give them a D- though. Because they were awful. I mean, they had a couple of key situations, key spots where they played good, but it's not all of them. Like I said, Douglas, Darby, Mills, even Sidney early was getting cooked. Absolutely terrible back there, considering the investment that we've made back there with picks.
Great point.
I mean, Maddox is a third rounder. Sidney Jones is a second rounder. Darby was a first rounder. I want to say Rasul Douglas was third round too. I want to say.
All right. Just stop saying name because when I just hear their names, I just want to punch my screen.
I mean, nobody was late round pick. When I say late round, after the fourth round, except for Mills. And damn, he was like a 6th round pick. So I mean, when you're counting on I'm not saying 6th round picks can't be great players because everybody knows that you find a gem every once in a while, but. Oh, I don't know what to do with this. I mean, we need help at other spots urgently, so we can't put a lot into cornerback. So something's going to happen in free agency. Either we're going to have to hit free agency hard for defensive help and go draft offensive help, or vice versa. But it's a lot of holes to fill and not enough picks to do so with.
Oh, that's a great point. All right, so what about corner? I'm sorry. What about safety? Ugh.
Oh man! Did you read the report that Malcolm Jenkins said he was kind of half-assing it this year because he didn't want to get hurt?
Oh no, I didn't see that. I did see the report about he wasn't going to play next year on the same contract or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was any truth to it or not, but it was an article saying Malcolm Jenkins actually told somebody he was half-assing it this year because he didn't want to get hurt.
Yeah, I'll say this on the surface. As much tape and stuff as coaches watch, I have a hard time believing that they would have him play every defensive snap if that's the case, because that would show up at some point.
Okay, but who are you going to put back there in his place?
But what I'm saying is
Marcus Epps?
What I'm saying is you would pull him out for a series or something just to try to send a message.
You can't. He's the only person that has a clue what's going on back there.
Well, yeah, that's probably true.
I mean, okay, here's your starters and your secondary. Darby, Mills, McLeod, Jenkins.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Darby, Jenkins,
Stop,
McLeod, and
stop,
Mills.
stop.
Now tell me, if you got a choice of those four guys and you need somebody to make a play, who's gonna make a play right there?
All right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'd rather have me, you, and Ben from BS3 out there.
I mean, hell, just about the same thing could happen. I mean,
well, good point, and would be cheaper.
But going back to it, if he half-assed it, man, I tell you what, if he gave it a full go, he would have been hell this year because he was easily the best player in the secondary again. You know, this probably is his, fourth or fifth year, claiming that mark for me as the best player in the secondary. I think McLeod came back decent after injury, but I'm on the fence if it's time to move on from him too. Safeties, man, McLeod's inconsistency and pretty much Jenkins saved the day. 3 times out of 5, pretty much back there. I'm gonna have to I just give them middle of the road. They got to see, man. I mean, They wasn't great, but I can't say they were the downfall of the defense either.
Yeah, all right. So I'm with you there. So I'm gonna go C plus. They had some moments pass rushing it, and but Malcolm Jenkins, everybody's gonna get beat sometimes, but age maybe starting to catch up with him a little bit. But like you said, he's still easily the best player back there, which is a little scary that it's so easy to pinpoint him as the best player. McLeod it feels like McLeod's just never in the play to me,
I mean, they say it's a good thing if
they're not throwing at him.
If they're not mentioned, if the defensive back's name isn't mentioned during the game, they say usually that's a good thing, because if they're talking about you, that means you're getting toasted a lot. So you didn't hear a lot of McLeod. So I'm gonna take that for what it's worth. That he probably played, better than average. But I still just don't think he's outstanding back there. I think he's a liability. No. He's a liability in pass coverage. He's decent in run support, but it's ain't the middle of the road to be there. I'll look at it when we talk about the team next year and drafting and needs. But it may be time to move on from him as well.
All right, so what I need everybody to do, of course, like I said before, we appreciate you guys listening. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Kane_Ice on Twitter. Facebook, Kane and Ice Show. Tell us what you think. Look for the contest. Make sure you participate in the contest, all right? People are winning real gift cards you can go spend and enjoy, some time out or enjoy something new on BS3. Also, go to bs3radio.com. Listen to us. Listen to our old shows. Listen to other BS3 shows. Leave comments. Leave 5-star ratings. All right, help us out.
Do that.
That helps us, right?
Do that.
And so, Kane, let me ask you, brother, what is it you want to leave all of our beautiful listeners with?
Well, once again, we're not in the playoffs, so I mean, I enjoyed last week's, divisional playoff games. There were some good games last week, so a few surprises. But let's just keep watching that. But at the same time, we're gonna get our team right for next year as well. So, have a safe weekend, enjoy your time. Watch some football and fly Eagles fly.
Hey, that's right, baby. Even in the off season, we're gonna keep that same energy, keep that same love, and we appreciate all you guys' love. Shout out to everybody leave messages. Shout out to Miss Mocha Bella. We appreciate you. Shout out to Ben. Appreciate the opportunity. Shout out to all our new listeners on new platforms, and hopefully even more coming. So, definitely appreciate you, Michael. Give you a quick shout out, and hey, everybody, just keep supporting us, keep helping us grow. And, hey, we're going to be back at you next week, baby. So holla if you hear me, all right?
Peace.
Peace.